Right now, in secret test tracks and crowded city streets, a new generation of Chinese super motorcycles is being born. Machines that hit 200, 250, even over 300 kilometers per hour, some of them fully electric, with ranges and acceleration that make traditional superbikes look like toys. And one of them is so advanced, so brutally fast and intelligent at the same time, that it honestly feels like it was sent back in time from the year 2050. In this video, you're going to discover the 8 most extreme Chinese super motorcycles that exist today, from compact rockets that scream to 16,000 RPM, to electric monsters that hit 200 kilometers per hour in total silence, all the way to a V4 hyperbike designed to break the 300 kilometers per hour barrier. Stay until the end, because number 1 is the Chinese super motorcycle that truly looks decades ahead of the rest of the world. Number 8. CFMoto 450 SR, China's entry ticket to the superbike world. We start with what, for many riders, is the gateway drug into the Chinese speed revolution. The CFMoto 450 SR isn't just an affordable sport bike, it's a statement that Chinese brands can build a real track weapon. Under its sharp fairings, you'll find a 449.5 cubic centimeter parallel twin that produces around 38 to 50 kilowatts of power depending on market, and a top speed of about 180 to 190 kilometers per hour. That's more than enough to embarrass many 600cc bikes from a few years ago. What really makes it special is the way it accelerates and handles. The 450 SR can sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 5 seconds. Thanks to that free revving twin and a curb weight under 180 kilos. Clip-on handlebars, aggressive rear sets, and inverted forks give it proper supersport geometry, not commuter bike ergonomics pretending to be sporty. Imagine this, you're on a track day, lined up next to much more expensive European machines. The lights go green, and that little Chinese twin launches hard, dives precisely into the first corner, and hangs on their back wheel all the way to the main straight. The 450 SR is important because it shows where China is starting. If this is the entry level, what's coming next is pure insanity. Number 7. Kove 450RR, the mini 4-cylinder screamer. If the 450 SR is the entry ticket, the Kove 450RR is China shouting, "Okay Japan, we can play your game too." This bike is China's answer to machines like the Kawasaki ZX4RR, a compact 4-cylinder supersport that loves to scream. Under the fairing, it packs a 443 cubic centimeter inline 4 that produces around 52 kilowatts at 13,000 revolutions per minute and revs all the way towards 16,000 revolutions per minute. Claimed top speed? Up to 220 kilometers per hour in some markets. Just imagine the sound. 4 tiny pistons spinning at insane speeds, the tachometer needle bouncing near the red line as you flick it through corners. On track, first gear alone can carry you past 100 kilometers per hour. The most impressive thing isn't just the numbers, it's what they represent. For decades, the art of building high-revving 4-cylinder supersports belonged almost exclusively to Japan. Now, a Chinese brand is delivering a bike that not only matches that format, but dares to compete with it head-on. Same idea, similar performance, but at a price that is, let's just say, very disruptive. The Kove 450RR proves that Chinese engineering has graduated from making simple commuters. It's now painting outside the lines of the traditional sport bike world. Number 6. QJMotor SRK921RR, China's near-liter bullet. Now we jump a whole category. The QJMotor SRK921RR is the moment Chinese sport bikes start eyeing the Ducati Supersport and Yamaha R1 territory. It's powered by a 921 cubic centimeter inline 4, liquid-cooled, with power figures reported in the range of 97 to 127 horsepower and a top speed claimed up to around 285 kilometers per hour, depending on tune and market. This engine was developed with input from MV Agusta, which means you're not just getting a big Chinese 4-cylinder, you're getting a motor with Italian DNA and Chinese manufacturing muscle. It's like a collaboration album between 2 artists that used to be on completely different stages. Design-wise, the SRK921RR looks like it's already doing 280 kilometers per hour just standing still. Long, low fairings, single-sided swing arm on some versions, radial Brembo brakes, and fully adjustable suspension show that QJMotor isn't playing. What's crazy is how quickly China went from small city bikes to a leader-class supersport with nearly 300 kilometers per hour potential. 10 years ago, that would have sounded like science fiction. Now it's just another product in the catalog. And yet, this is still old-school power: pistons, fuel, explosions. The next bikes combine that raw speed with something much more futuristic. Number 5. Horwin Senmenty Zero, the electric Chinese superbike in disguise. At first glance, the Horwin Senmenty Zero looks like a chunky urban ADV scooter. Don't be fooled. Underneath that design is a Chinese electric missile. Built on a 400-volt high-performance platform, the Senmenty Zero packs around 74 kilowatts of power, a mind-bending 894 newton-meters of torque at the wheel, and can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 2.8 to 3.x seconds, with a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. To put that into perspective, that's superbike-level acceleration in a machine that doesn't even need a drop of gasoline. Its range can reach around 300 kilometers in mixed urban use. And with DC fast charging, it can go from 0 to 80% in roughly 30 minutes at a car fast charging station. But here's the crazy part. The Senmenty Zero's battery and electronics are designed not just to move the bike, but to act as a power station. You can plug devices into it, use it as an emergency generator, or power camping equipment far from civilization. It's a motorcycle that doubles as an energy hub. This is where you start to see why people say Chinese electric tech feels years ahead. While many brands are still struggling to reach 150 kilometers per hour and 150 kilometers of range, this Chinese machine quietly delivers 200 kilometers per hour, 2.8-second sprints, and real-world long range in one package. And believe it or not, it's not the wildest electric motorcycle China is building. Number 4. CFMoto 750 SR-R, the middleweight Chinese apex predator. If the 450 SR is the apprentice, the CFMoto 750 SR-R is the big brother who's already fighting with the giants. This 749 cubic centimeter inline-4 supersport has been developed to go directly after legendary middleweights from Japan and Europe. Details are still emerging, but early specs point to a high-revving engine, advanced electronic rider aids, and track-focused ergonomics. Journals covering its development expect performance well into classic supersport territory, with top speeds headed toward the upper 200 kilometers per hour range. One of the most interesting features is its aerodynamic rear wheel cover, designed to reduce drag and stabilize the bike at extreme speeds. That's the kind of detail you expect on MotoGP prototypes or obsessive European hyperbikes, not on a Chinese middleweight that's also supposed to be somewhat affordable. The 750 SR-R is a sign that Chinese brands are no longer content with just good value for money. They're aiming at lap times, at track records, at the hearts of riders who used to only trust Japanese and Italian logos. And yet, even this four-cylinder predator still burns gasoline. China's most futuristic motorcycle goes in a different direction. Number 3. CFMoto V4 SR-RR, China's 300 km per hour hyperbike. Now we enter pure madness. The CFMoto V4 SR-RR is a hyperbike project that shows exactly how far Chinese performance ambitions really go. It's built around a V4 engine with more than 210 horsepower, with CFMoto quoting a curb weight under 200 kilograms. That gives it a power-to-weight ratio of less than 1 kilogram per horsepower, a number that only a handful of elite superbikes on Earth can match. There are no official top speed figures yet, but internal targets speak of more than 300 kilometers per hour, right at the limit of the famous gentleman's agreement that caps most superbikes. Aerodynamics are aggressive and functional: sharp fairings, winglets to keep the front wheel down at speed, and a chassis designed for superb stiffness on the track. Think about what this means. A few years ago, the idea of a Chinese brand building a V4 hyperbike to chase things like the Ducati Panigale 54R would have sounded like a joke. Today, that bike exists as a serious development platform, with specs that put it in the same conversation as the fastest production motorcycles on the planet. This is no longer about entry-level commuters or budget bikes. This is China aiming directly at the absolute summit of two-wheeled performance. And yet, raw top speed isn't the only way to be decades ahead. What if you combine superbike speed with something most brands still haven't figured out: electric grand touring range that feels like science fiction? Number 2. The ecosystem of Chinese speed. Before we get to number 1, look at what we already have. A 450 cubic centimeter twin that hits 190 kilometers per hour and feels like a race bike for the streets. A screaming 450 cubic centimeters four-cylinder that runs to 220 kilometers per hour and revs to the moon. A near-liter supersport approaching 285 kilometers per hour with Italian development help. A middleweight 754 that adds crazy aerodynamics and track focus. An electric torque monster that does 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds and 200 kilometers per hour in silence. And a V4 hyperbike project aiming squarely over 300 kilometers per hour. If this is the supporting cast, you can imagine what the main star looks like. Get ready, because the Chinese motorcycle that really feels decades ahead doesn't just chase top speed. It rewrites what we even expect from a motorcycle. Number 1. Evoque 6061 GT, the Chinese super motorcycle from the future. Meet the bike that might actually justify the title of this video, the Evoque 6061-GT. On paper, it sounds like a typo. This Chinese electric Grand Tourer delivers up to 90 kilowatts of power, a top speed of around 230 kilometers per hour, and a claimed range of up to 660 kilometers on a single charge. Yes, you heard that right. 230 kilometers per hour and 660 kilometers range on an electric motorcycle. Most electric bikes today force you to choose. Do you want insane acceleration for 150 kilometers or calm efficiency for 250 kilometers? The 6061 GT looks at that dilemma and laughs. Its massive battery pack is one of the largest ever fitted to a production motorcycle, integrated into a rigid aluminum frame that gives the bike both stability and futuristic styling. With fast charging capability, it can refill a huge chunk of that energy in a relatively short stop, turning real long-distance electric touring into something actually practical. But the most impressive thing isn't even the numbers. It's what those numbers mean. Imagine riding from one big city to another, hundreds of kilometers, at highway speeds, overtaking gasoline bikes while your machine remains completely silent, emitting nothing, and still arriving with enough energy left to power your campsite, your laptop, even another vehicle in an emergency. Combine that with over-the-air software updates, advanced monitoring of every cell in the battery, and the ability for the bike to evolve and improve over time. And suddenly you realize, this isn't just a fast bike, it's a platform. A rolling computer and power station that happens to go 230 kilometers per hour. While many brands in the West are still struggling to bring a 200 kilometers per hour, 250 kilometer range electric motorcycle to market, a Chinese company is already talking about 230 kilometers per hour and 660 kilometers. That's why, if any motorcycle today deserves to be called decades ahead, it's this Chinese Evoque 6061-GT. The new motorcycling map. What we've just seen is the new face of Chinese motorcycling. We're no longer talking about anonymous 125cc commuters. We're talking about supersport 450s that can rev like old-school Japanese race replicas, near-liter rockets flirting with 300 kilometers per hour, electric torque monsters that destroy 0 to 100 times, hyperbikes with over 210 horsepower and top speeds above 300 kilometers per hour in their sights, and an electric Grand Tourer that promises 230 kilometers per hour and 660 kilometers of range in one insane package. Just like we saw with trains and flying vehicles, China isn't just catching up, it's leapfrogging entire generations of technology in a single step. China's new train is faster than this new flying vehicle from China. This new Chinese motorcycle will? The question is no longer, are Chinese motorcycles any good? The real question is, how long until you see one of these super machines overtaking you on your own roads? And will you be brave enough to be the one riding it? Now it's your turn. Tell me, which of these Chinese super motorcycles impressed you the most? Would you rather have the screaming Kove 450RR, the brutal V4 SR-RR hyperbike, or the silent Evoque 6061 GT that can outrun almost anything without burning a single drop of fuel? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them. And if these futuristic motorcycles blew your mind, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos about the most amazing technologies of the future. The world of motorcycles has changed forever. We're no longer talking about simple two-wheeled machines. We're talking about Chinese super motorcycles that look like they rode here from the next century. See you in the next one.